Bonjour les amis et merci for watching me. This is for those who can and who want to do more. You have options in the description below. May I suggest you the membership program because it is the most affordable way to support the channel without thinking so hard. But understand that by you watching from start to finish, commenting, liking, subscribing if you haven't done so, pushes my algorithm forward and helps me out a ton as well. So don't minimize the essence of your viewership. And I talked a lot with my hands today, like an Italian. I'm not Italian. The lack of regard for other people makes you a liability because then you become unreliable. If you're confused as to what I'm saying, I'm going to connect a few dots and I'm going to point the arrow, which I'm sure all of us would agree by now that this man is guilty. So does his lawyer. And she is very smart, which makes me very nervous. Okay, for those who are new here, I am Alistair Hanzekio. This is just my point of view. Let's start by addressing the first dot. All right, let's look into his recently released alibi. Let's go back in time for a very quick hot second. Kohberger initially did not want to release this alibi. He was like, no, I'm innocent, I'm good. I can wait here in a cell, I'm good. Let's go back even further than that. His first lawyer, the statement posted by his first lawyer was co-written by Kohberger. What? What? Since when have you done that? It speaks a little bit of a level of arrogance. Let's even go back from that. He has a history of harassment. He has a history of bad temper. He has a history of violence. He has a history of studying criminals. Okay, so now let's come back to the moment where he's like, I'm not gonna give you my alibi, but I'm innocent. Matter of fact, I'm so innocent, you might as well just go home and set me free. But no, I'm gonna give you a favor. I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna sit here in my jail cell and wait for the trial, even though I know I'm innocent. Who does that? Now, his lawyer, I call her Miss Taylor Baby. His lawyer, Miss Taylor Baby, the blonde lady, and her team. These are smart lawyers. These are not idiots. They understand how this thing is working. And I guarantee you, she's like, oh my God, how do I make this work? Well, they release an alibi. Let's look at what this stupid alibi states. Okay? Okay. Mr. Kohberger has long had a habit of going for drives alone. Oh, so already there's no way to prove this. So they're already laying a foundation of, oh, look at that. I was alone, so nobody saw me. But that's an alibi? Hold on one second. Often he would go for drives at night. Oh, how convenient. How convenient. So there's no one to commemorate, whatever the word is, my alibi. But not only that, it was at night. Kohberger is not claiming to be at a specific location at a specific time. Oh, really? At this time, there is not a specific witness to say precisely where. Oh, gee, you think? You just told us that he has a habit of taking drives alone. Of course. I didn't need you to tell me that, Miss Taylor Baby. I didn't need to hear that, Miss Taylor Baby, okay? Because that's a given. All right. Okay. We'll go along with that. I reacted too early. I was going to say, not a specific witness to say precisely where Mr. Kohberger was at each moment of the hours between late night November 12 and early morning November 13. What kind of alibi is that? But no, listen. It sounds silly to us, but there's purpose to this madness. There is a purpose to how the lawyer is handling this. If you look a little bit, the in-between here is that this lawyer is waiting to get as much information from the prosecution and then snaps with a response that is permissible. I'm not saying correct, that is permissible. She's figuring things out as she gets the information, because she probably is not getting accurate information from her client, or her client pretty much said, yeah, kill them, you're going to get me out, allegedly. So she's doing the best, and she's not doing a bad job. She's not doing a bad job. Because the way this is written, it's an alibi, all right, but I was alone, so nobody can tell me where I was. And that's why I say this was very well written in a very smart way at a very specific and intelligent time.
Thank you for being here. We haven't talked in a while. Are you and Christy planning to be at the hearing tomorrow?
Yes, we'll be there tomorrow for sure.
I suppose when you read the prosecutor's response to Bryan Kohberger's lawyer's assertion that, that the proceeding that led to the grand jury indictment was unfair, I suppose when you read nonsense, you felt the same way or maybe more.
Well, I feel like we definitely understand what unfair feels like as parents. There's 6 motions that are going to happen tomorrow, which makes it a very important hearing to be at. So we'll be there, and we will be watching everything, recording everything. I have my legal counsel there, and I want to make sure that he understands that he has a whole team of people after him. It's not just the prosecution. It's all the families. We want justice, and we're looking for all this evidence. That's why I want to know about the alibi. We want to know about these different motions and give him the opportunity to defend himself.
Okay, let's talk about that alibi, because I haven't spoken to you since he actually announced this alibi story that he was out for a long drive between 3 and 4 or 5 in the morning. Can't prove his whereabouts, but that's the story and he's sticking to it. What was your reaction when you saw that actually on paper?
It helped me understand that we do have the right defendant, and there's some computer models that are out there that kind of correlate patterns and speeds and times that people could be going through that neighborhood and how they would match along those surveillance cameras. So I understand the difficulty of being able to come up with an alibi that fits that, but the jury will be able to see all of this on their own and make that decision.
Yeah, coincidences, 1 coincidence people can accept, 2, it gets harder, 3 or 4, like I just happened to turn my phone off for that specific time that I was out for my long drive in the darkest, deepest time of the night. It starts to get, pretty tricky. One last quick question. How are you guys doing? We are, coming up on an anniversary this fall that's going to be very difficult for you and your kids and for the other parents as well. How are you guys managing?
You hope that it gets better, but the truth is losing somebody as important as Kaylee and Maddie and Ethan and Xana, it never gets okay. It never feels good. You don't heal from that. So I have a job to do as a parent, and I hope everybody understands what we're doing and what we're going through.
I think most people will absolutely understand that, but, having never walked in your shoes, they'll never truly get it. 46 days. I don't know if they'll grant him a stay, whether there'll be a delay in that, but 46 days, that's coming soon, the start of this trial, at least the scheduled start. Steve, thank you. Please give my love to Christy and the rest of your kids, and be well, my friend.
Thank you.
So let me tie this dot. first one is that serendipity. Listen, coincidence? Lady Luck is a lazy woman. Okay? Lady Luck doesn't give a damn about you. Lady Luck doesn't give a crap. Lady Luck is like, leave me alone, I'm not interested. So that thing of coincidence, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. Stop trying to make things make sense. Oh, he just happened to take a drive the night of the murder by himself over there in the woods. And he turned up his phone like at the specific time. Oh, wow. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. How coincidental. How coincidental. Really? Really? But wait a minute. Let's just say his alibi. Let's just give him the benefit of the doubt that his alibi, it's what it is. Let's just say Lady Luck was really, really high that day. And she was like, I'm going to shower you with luck. Fine. Surveillance cameras. You think criminals out there or anybody, you think nobody's watching you? I remember when during COVID, people thought that there was like tracking devices in the vaccines. Look, I'm a science guy. I can tell you right now that doesn't exist. Okay? Okay. No, it doesn't exist. There's no nanotechnology to put in a syringe, enter your bloodstream, and track all that stuff. Okay? You know what they have for that? Your cell phone. Okay? Your cell phone does that just fine. Just fine. You know what else? You know what else they got for that? Surveillance cameras everywhere. 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 But you know what else they have for that? A whole team of prosecutors. You think that you're dealing with one person? No. Criminals, you're dealing with a whole team. You're dealing with more than one brain. You're dealing with professionals. You are dealing with a mountain of intelligence. Nobody is smart enough to take on a whole team. This is not the 1960s. This is not the 1800s. It's not the Middle Ages. No, someone's going to see you. Or someone's going to connect a dot and do this. Look, I'm not even that smart and I'm connecting enough dots. And I'm only a single person. You really think you're that good? Then you're an idiot. And lastly, this is the right defendant. Let me explain to you, because we're going to go back to coincidence and serendipity. Okay? Hello. You're innocent. Prove it. An innocent person will be able to tell you something credible. Not after a few months, not after a few decades. They will find a way to tell you, oh, no. Look, this is where I was. You know, I went to my friend at this time. Like, they would track you. Let's just say coincidentally, you find yourself driving in the woods at night. You would say, at 8 p.m. I got out the house. You would give them a trail for them to follow and double check your alibi. He didn't even do that. He didn't even give a trail of like, okay, what time did you leave? No, they just gave time frames. They gave time frames. Okay, which way did you drive by? What street? Which way did you go? Where did you make that right turn? At what point? No, there was no details. It was vague as hell. An innocent person is not vague, my loves. It's not vague, my darlings. Okay? If something doesn't make sense, stop trying to make it sense. If a guy doesn't like you, he doesn't like you. If the girl's not into it, she's not into it. No means no. Exactly. If it doesn't make sense, don't try to make sense of it. First dot connected. Let's go to my second dot, Mr. Kohberger.
And that's the case of Bryan Kohberger, a man accused of killing the 4 Idaho college students. Tonight, prosecutors challenging Kohberger's request to throw out the entire grand jury indictment. This is both sides prepare to face off in court tomorrow. Now, Kohberger's attorneys argued the grand jury indictment should be thrown out because basically the grand jurors were misled, that a higher standard of proof should have been used to determine whether criminal charges should move forward. But in this new motion filed in the past couple of hours, prosecutors say that argument, quote, rests entirely on an erroneous legal theory. They said to suggest some errors in the grand jury process necessitate dismissal of the indictment without any inquiry into the potential prejudicial effect cannot be squared with Idaho Supreme Court precedent, and that in fact any error in the grand jury proceeding is harmless once the defendant has been afforded a fair trial. This all comes ahead of tomorrow's hearing where the judge is expected to rule on the defense motions to dismiss the case, to set a schedule. Kohberger offered his alibi earlier this month, claiming he was going for a routine drive when the killings took place, didn't give specifics. He faces 4 counts of first-degree murder in the stabbing deaths of Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xander Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. If convicted, Kohberger could face death by firing squad because of a recent change in Idaho state law. Tomorrow's hearing is a big deal.
I can't stress it enough. It's going to dictate when the trial happens, if the indictment gets thrown out, and how the defense is going to defend themselves. So I don't know where you want to start. If you want to
Let's start with the defense.
Let's start with the defense. Their main goal, let's just try to throw out the grand jury indictment. You and I talked about it, talked about the standard of proof. The prosecution responded very strongly. So since you and I talked, I looked at Idaho law, and there seemed to be confusion about what is the standard of proof by which a grand jury has to come back. Prosecution said whatever ambiguity there is, you look at the Supreme Court, and they have been consistent, it is probable cause.
They're going to lose. The defense is going to lose.
Okay, so put that to the side. The defense has a stronger argument that they say the prosecution has to turn over to them evidence regarding genetic genealogy. The most important piece of evidence in this case is that DNA linking him to the crime scene. They say, we want to know how you came to this. Who else did you identify? What were the methods that you used? We have a right. This is part of the discovery process. Now, what's the prosecution saying? Well, wait a second. You don't have a right to know if we looked at John Smith or what other names came up. It's going to, hurt the integrity of investigative methods. You don't have a right to it. Now, what do I think is going to happen? The judge is going to go somewhere in the middle because this is a right for the defendant to defend himself and try to say genetic genealogy, as strong as it is, we have a right to poke holes in it. But to go to so strong that the defense has a right to say who else was identified and what were the methods that investigators used, I don't think the judge is going to allow that.
The defense has also added another DNA person to the team.
So they've added a DNA expert. That is probably going to counter the prosecution's expert. I mentioned DNA before in the other case. As strong as genetic genealogy is, and we've seen it solve a ton of cold cases, there are holes in it. It's when you take something like 23andMe versus a lab-conducted test, it's not always the same, and they're going to fight that, and they have to, because again, it was first his father's DNA that was matched.
Right.
And then once they got him, they took his own DNA, and it was a statistical match, so they have to fight it. Now, if the judge, let's say, says, you don't have a right to any of this, then that is going to impede the defense in a major way. I don't know how they're going to defend themselves.
What are we talking about in terms of timing? Are they going to be setting any schedules?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just address the DNA elephant in the room, all right? The reason why the father was a match before they got hands on Kohberger DNA is because it's Kohberger's father. Really? Do you know how much 50% of Kohberger's father is in Kohberger? Of course it's going to be somewhat. Of course. I can't believe that we have to even blink 1,000 times and come to that conclusion. Really? Okay. Immaculate Conception. Stoops! Of course. So when they got a hold of Kohberger's DNA, statistical match. What the hell did you think? Yeah, of course he's not the dad. Of course, we went from 50% to 100%. Shocker. Next thing, DNA expert. The DNA expert is hired by the defense. Do you think a DNA expert is going to give you something that the prosecution is going to? Of course, he's going to go in there and testify for the benefit of the defense. But listen, what is he going to say? Because he's just a DNA expert. He has to follow the squareness of what the science says. He's going to tell you the same thing I just told you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. With DNA, it's not foolproof if you don't get the right person. Duh. Oh, and then, if you contaminate the sample, then you might get somebody else. Duh. Yes, DNA expert, waste of time. This is just mumbo jumbo to make the general public who don't know how these things work to be like, oh my God. No, that DNA expert is going to be completely useless. Useless. But anyway, now let's go to Miss Taylor Baby, the lawyer. That's why I call her Miss Taylor Baby. Yeah, Miss Taylor Baby. Listen, Miss Taylor Baby, there's a reason why she is moving the way she moves. And listen to my connection here between the line of how I look at it, okay? This is the best you can do, Taylor, Miss Taylor Baby? That's the best you could do? So, oh, he was just jogging about himself. Nobody saw him, but it wasn't him. Oh, it's not his DNA, it's his dad's. Clearly, you got the wrong person. Oh, who else did you match with if you made a mistake with the father? Huh? That's the second best you got? And the third one, Miss Taylor Baby wants to have access. She says, well, because you got the wrong DNA person to begin with, and because he was just jogging by himself at night and nobody saw him and it wasn't him, therefore you told the wrong information to the grand jury, which indicted him. Therefore, throw the whole case out. Do you see what Miss Taylor Baby is doing? This is what she's doing. You ready? She's trying to see what's going to stick. Miss Taylor Baby, nothing is going to stick. Okay? Nothing is going to stick. Do you want to know why nothing is going to stick? Because she has nothing else to go about. Behind the scenes, if this is the best she got, that means she ain't got nothing. It means... I'll say that for my final thought. Let's go to my next segment. Miss Taylor Baby, Miss Taylor Baby, Miss Taylor Baby. So look, if you find yourself at this point in the video, that means you are still watching. So thank you so much. And if you haven't done so, let me just remind you to like. And if you're not subscribed yet, let me just remind you to subscribe. That's it. I'm not going to edit that. I'm out of time. Apologies for the burp. Sometimes I can't control it. As I'm getting older, I can't control it. Okay, enough. Back to the show. Ooh.
What do you make of that argument? I mean, obviously, the DNA is not going to lie, but I would assume the defense is going to try to argue or present information, testimony at trial that, I don't know, there could have been contamination. There could have been other things going on.
And that's the purpose of having an expert testify on behalf of a defendant or review the case on behalf of a defendant. If the expert is not able to challenge, as you said, a statistical match, or show that there was any contamination, or show that there was some bump in the road as far as the retrieval and the chain of custody and things like that, if their defense expert is not able to raise any issue, any credible issue in a trial in this case, then, you know, a statistical match is a statistical match. And, you know, that might be just the end of it there.
Done.
This trial is scheduled to begin in October. October 2nd is when.
Listen, do you know why they call it a statistical match? They can't say it's 100% a match. You want to know why? Lawsuits, allegedly. Hey, if you're new here, my name is Alistair Nziko. This is just my point of view. Lawsuits are real. Lawsuits are real. Statistical match. Yeah. That's why. But listen, we all know it's him. It's him. So, Miss Taylor Baby has nothing to go by. Her only defense is to hope the prosecution contaminated the DNA sample. That's her wish. That's her only avenue. And that's why Miss Taylor Baby wants the whole review and details of who else did you identify. But Miss Taylor Baby, listen to me very closely, Miss Taylor Baby. Okay? Listen to me. Because, tongue pop. But listen to me. They will give you how they process, or the processes and the protocol, or how they gather and got to the result of a statistical match. They'll give that to you, of course. But they're not going to tell you who else they identified. They're not going to do that because it's irrelevant, Miss Teller baby. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. You know why? Because even if my DNA was there, even if you know, Santa Claus DNA was there, it was not in high enough degree compared to your defendant. Therefore, you can just forget about it. Yeah. I'm going to say the word alleged in massive because Miss Teller baby likes money a little too much, okay? You're not going to come for me. Listen, I'm going to reenact you a little bit how that meeting went over there with Kohberger and Taylor, okay? All right. I heard what happened. Are you okay? Okay. So, so tell me your version. I didn't do it. I understand. Oh, poor soul. But what happened? Give me the details. Nothing. This is exactly the conversation between that Miss Telebaby and that idiot. Nothing. Her reaction to the whole situation is a result of her not having anything to go by. The other explanation is for him to confess to her, yeah, I killed them. Now you're going to get me out of here. But, you know, he's too narcissistic to even agree to that. He's too pompous. So he told his own lawyer nothing. So she's sitting there scratching that nice blonde hair, scratching her head and be like, oh my God, how do I make this work? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why Kohberger is guilty. He's guilty. An innocent person will have something to say. He has nothing to say to the point where his own defense lawyer knows nothing. Knows nothing because the way she moves, the way she's playing second base. She's waiting to see what's coming. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I guess we'll do that. All right. She's just dodging. She's just dodging tomatoes. That's what she's doing. That's not preemptive strikeness. That's bad. So, yeah. And he's not going to get away with it. The reason why I'm nervous a little bit is I'm nervous because I'm hope that prosecution, you were very diligent with your DNA sampling crap. Okay? I hope there's not an ounce of extra or protocol skipped. Please. Please. But once that's the case and done deal, honey, Kohberger, you go to jail. Matter of fact, firing squad? Wait a minute. You mean that's when they put you on the pole and they put your hand behind your back? They cover your eyeballs and you go, oh my God, that's even worse. I want to see the gun. I want to see when it's going to be pulled. I want to look at you in the eyes and say, you're doing this to me. I mean, of course. Leave it to a freaking criminal to complain about their rights after they murder everybody. Oh, my rights. Leave it to a freaking criminal to start complaining that they're human beings when they get smack on the face. Leave it to them because it's always about them, right? They always seem to forget the fact that they took life. But no, they want to have shoes, water, heat, internet, entertainment, holidays. Yeah, leave it to the criminals to complain. So stupid. It's so stupid. So stupid. Welcome to my last talk. Again, if you got to this point, good. Look, I'd like you to press like if you have not done so and subscribe if you're not. I hope you like the content I put out in the past and I hope you will enjoy future content. I don't know why my sentencing, like my sentence formulation in my head was all mumbo jumbo. So that's why it came out like that. You know, I think in French and I translate in English. You know, I was feeling very nostalgic the other day. And, you know, I went on the YouTube and I was watching the old videos that I made. Even the ones from like my, the financial post and the landlord stories and all that stuff. And I remember those were pre-baby, and I was like, wow, Chris, you look so young. So it wasn't even that long ago. And Chris was like, well, that's what lack of sleep would do to you. And I was like, yeah, oh God, babies, they suck the youth out of you and don't give a damn. They're like, it's funny. And then I went to the Darrell Brooks stuff, and I remember, well, first of all, it was a different war in the back. I remembered, the feelings and the excitement, but also the difficulty. Around that time, I was trying to be conscious of my conditions. I know I say it like that, but let me tell you what I think I have. Because it's never been diagnosed. But when I was younger, it was in the process of being diagnosed. And when I was put on the meds, I was not the same. My mom was like, nah, I like you just the way you are. So you figure it out. And I think I have a little bit of bipolarism maybe. And I do have manic episode maybe. Like I would never get diagnosed because I found a way to make it work for me. But, I have my emotional state can spike very easily. Some people, I can go to 0 to 100 quite quickly, and I can also come down very quickly. And I remember I would joke around at the first videos about how, like, sometimes when I argue with friends, they don't know if I'm happy or if I'm really serious. So I have to give a disclaimer. Okay, look, I'm mad and we're arguing. So don't think my laughter and my jokes in between is just like we're cool. No, I let me get my point across. I might giggle here and there. So I have to give people a disclaimer because they might be confused as to, like, where are you emotionally, right? But this is just one of the copes. But I remember in the first videos of Darrell Brooks, because I remember I shot them. Yeah. It was heavily edited. I would do my outburst and I'd be like, oh, no, let's bring it back down. And so I would redo retakes. It would take me one day. Oh my God, it would take me 24 hours sometimes to record a video because I would go through all these emotional states. And then, I had to stop, delete, redo it. And, the baby was brand new and Christopher was being pretty much a single parent almost. And, look, my husband would do anything for me. I don't even have to ask. It's actually, I tell him a lot. I joke and I say, you're so lucky that I don't take advantage of that because some people will take advantage of that. People will take advantage if you leave them. Christopher says yes to everything. I mean, he does say no, but no, he never refuses me anything. And he would be a single parent and support this situation, but, it's not right. It's 50-50. So, at the beginning, he was doing it with a smile. And he does it, he was not complaining. He would do it with a smile, but I'll be here the whole day recording. And then and he's changing diapers. He has a full-time job too, by the way. So it's not, and he has a very demanding job. So it's not like he's a stay, there's no stay at home here, okay? You have 2 feet, 2 hands, and a brain. You go to work. I am who I am. And editing is just too time-consuming. And so you get what you get. Do you know what else is happening right now at this moment? Listen. I'm very upset with my niece, Ashley. Hi, Ashley. I know she watches this. Ashley, listen. We've talked about this in private, and we've talked about this also within the family in public. Now, actually, I'm not going to embarrass you, okay? You can relax. You can relax. Anyway, Ashley is acting very entitled. Yes, you are, Ashley, but we talked about that. She watches out to the end with her best friend, and they say they watch it unaltered. I said, I was 18 once. Yeah, of course. Just, I don't want to see it, Ashley. Okay? Anyway, so acting very entitled. And I had to tell her, I said, I want you to understand one thing, my girl. Actually, I told you that. Life is very hard. And you cannot act entitled. Because one day, we're all going to be gone. And that entitlement, nobody cares. And no one's going to put up with it. Okay? So, you need to humble up. And I'm going to leave it as that. But what I'm going to tell you is, you know I'm a beast, right? So, no, she's going to humble up. She's going to humble up. She's going to humble up. You have a brain. You're smart. 2 hands and 2 feet. There's no entitlement here. You go out there and you work. You work and you make your own way. Entitlement. Have your mind. How do you have your mind? No. That is over. It's a privilege. It's a privilege. Privilege. Everybody works hard, my dear. Everybody works hard. So don't be entitled. Be grateful. Okay? So now you're going to learn how to be grateful. Go out there and understand what it's like. And then you can come back and be like, oh, yeah, yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. Let me tell you something. You know, her uncle is my husband. And we're a very close-knit family. And there's certain things we don't tolerate. And we operate on consequences. Yeah. Love her to death, but consequences. That's it. That's what I'm going to say. It's okay. Of course, she'll hate us for temporarily, but she'll learn. She'll learn a very important life lesson. Important life lesson. That's the main thing that's been going on right now. So we've been... Oh my God, I have a headache just to think about all this. I have a headache. And we have such busy weekends. Oh my God, yes, so much to do. Like, you know, you guys know my days are scheduled to the minute, to the hour. I do leave myself some wiggle room to go over, but that eats away at my entertainment, which is, you know, watch a movie. I haven't watched a movie in months, you know. Yeah, everything is scheduled. But even throughout all that, though, you know, even throughout all the mess, me and Chris still schedule our hangout time. Yeah, of course. Pillow talk is not included. Yeah. I love him so much. Of course, I love him to death. Not enough to die for him, though. Yeah. Olympia is in this phase where she's like huggy. The other day, she just wanted cuddles. And, you know, when you're, she has it differently with me and Chris. So for Chris has chest hair, and he's Italian, so he has a lot of chest hair. So she loves to play with his chest hair. So she's like, and she rubs her ears on his chest hair, and she pulls, like she plays with it. And so for me, I have muscles, so I'm cushiony. I'm cushiony so much. She likes to do is poke me. She pokes. And, you know, I'm a toucher, so I give her lots of kisses. And after she pokes, she just puts her cheeks on my lips, and she's like, ah, and she makes the noises, nah. Ah, so I'm sitting there like, she goes, ah, yeah, she's in that mood, and it's like, it's so amazing. I'm like, oh, all this hard work's totally worth it, absolutely worth it. And then at nighttime, it happened only once, and then I was like, no. One time she was crying, she wanted to sleep with us. So, you know, sometimes it's very hard to say no when you pick her up, she's crying from her crib, you pick her up, she goes, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Ooh, it's crazy how much you melt. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, because, you know, I'm thinking, is it food? Nope. Is it diaper? Nope. She just wanted, and then I brought her on our bed, and then she fell asleep, and she was holding, please, doesn't matter what she did, because she twirls when she sleeps. She's a horrible person to sleep with. What? I was like, I didn't get no sleep, but she was able to sleep like that. And then she wanted to do that more often. And I said, Christopher, listen to me very closely. No, I said, Olympia, look, you're going to have to cry, because this is Papa and Daddy's bed. And this is our space. I love you to death, my dear, but you're going to stay in your crib and cry yourself to sleep if you need to. No, we cannot make a habit out of this. No. So sure enough, the next night she wanted that again. I said, no. You stay in your room. No, and no. No, that's my husband and I's bed. What? No. You stay over there. Anyway, I can sit here and talk to you all day, but I cannot afford the time. I have to go edit and post. Love you so much. I will see you next time. Bye, darling. Goodbye, darling. Goodbye, darling. Goodbye, darling. Goodbye, darling. I'm pressing the stop record.